In this video, we're going to have an overview and a bit of a demo of the Gentleman for Native Instruments Contact. Now you can get this with Complete 11 Ultimate, Complete 11, or you can buy it on its own. All right, so a real quick overview first here, just so you understand exactly what's included and what you get here. You can see this is a vintage Bechstein Model A upright piano, a very old one built in 1908, and it's about a 13 gig sample content, but around 6 gigs compressed, and that may be a little bit less once it's actually on your computer. All right, lots of different options here. We have our tone controls, which we'll get to in a minute. We'll actually hear how these different parameter changes actually affect the tone here. We're just going to go over them real quick here. So we have our tone controls, our lid controls, of course, tone, soft or hard. Again, you're going to hear this in a minute. 3 different lid positions, open, closed, and halfway open. We have a flyout here for our controls, which you'll see right here. And we also have these little buttons that will turn on different parameters like your equalizer. You can turn those on or off just by clicking the little light there. We also have a flyout down here for our anatomy section. Okay, so not to bore anyone here. By the way, if you've watched my other videos on, say, the Maverick or the Grandeur, you'll notice that the interface is exactly the same. Okay, so the way these controls work will be exactly the same as in the previous video. So of course we have an equalizer, our tonal depth, our transients, our low key, which is a really cool feature to have there to sort of balance out the frequency range, the volume of those low keys below middle C versus the higher keys. Because sometimes that real low, or real low key can sort of overpower the upper end. Although sometimes you may really want to increase that to more because you might want a really bass heavy track. Of course, you have your compressor, your tape, your anatomy section. You can read this here yourself. I don't want to bore you with it. And you can always hop in to your PDF file, by the way, just by clicking this down arrow and going to the Gentleman manual right there. Pretty cool. All right, let's just go through this real quick. So our dynamic range, which again, we're going to hear that, our resonance control, our pedal control, all kinds of different controls here. You can see we have overtones, release samples, noises, our stereo image, the keys section, which really controls the velocity. By the way, that velocity will make a difference what you have to set at. Even if you are not inputting, I'm hitting a keyboard right now, even if you're just playing back MIDI that you already have, that velocity control will make a difference. I'll just hit play here. I'll pop this open. If I change this, you can hear how that changes. Okay. So even if you're not using a keyboard, to input your notes, this does make a difference, even if you're using like something like the pencil tool or something. Now, if you have a complete control, they already have a preset there for you, so it responds in the way that it should while you're playing a piano. I'll leave this on linear. So we also have, as I mentioned, pedal controls. Again, just turn those on or off. And at any time during the video, you want to know exactly what something does, just look right down here in this area. You see if I hover over a control, it tells you exactly what it does. Very cool. Head back over to our PDF. So again, we mentioned the stereo image, our keys control, pedaling, release, samples, all of our noises, and our tuning, and of course our space or reverb section with a bunch of different impulse responses. All right, so that's enough about it. Hopefully you understand what's going on. I'll throw information on screen in case you're not sure what I mean by if I say stereo image or if I say overtones, so on and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead and start hearing exactly how all of these different parameters will change our end tone here for the Gentleman. And the Gentleman, by the way, includes one NKI file. Just fold that up. And it also includes several snapshots. So just click that snapshot there and click your down arrow and you can see all of these different snapshots. So right now it's on the basic Gentleman. And if I just hit play. Okay, so now let me change this to, let's say a spacey upright. And you can see how that changes all of these different parameters that we have here. So we'll hit play there. All right, very cool. Now this video, we're just going to see exactly how all of our different options change our tone. In a later video, I'll just have a playthrough of just the sounds of just some of these different snapshots or presets so you can hear how the Gentleman sounds in context of a solo piano track. But this video, we're going to see exactly how these options here, these parameters, change our tones. Let's go ahead and change this back to the basic Gentleman. There we go. And let's go ahead and start listening to what happens whenever we change these parameters. So we have our loop set here. We have loop playback on. We turn that off. Very good. Pop open contact. One more time here. Again, the gentleman right there. Let's go ahead and play back. So very good basic tone. You see nothing is on right now. Let's go ahead and go to hard. Soft. Huge difference. Great for really getting the exact tone you want. Go to our lid. Right now it's fully open. Let's close it down. So a much warmer, rounder tone when it's closed all the way. Now in the Gentleman, we only have 2 different positions, whereas in the Maverick and the Grandeur, we have 3 different positions. But here we have open and we have closed. Leave it open. Move on to the anatomy here for our dynamic range. And you'll hear the difference between the lighter played notes or the softer played notes and the louder notes. If we pull it way down, it sort of compresses it. Let's let our loop start over here. Just select that, make sure that loop is on. You can hear that dynamic range. You can hear it's much more compressed. We take it all the way up. You can hear how much wider, not wider as in spectrum, but the dynamic range is. The difference between loud and soft. Does that make sense? Very cool. On to our resonances. You can see when the pedal is on here. Pull it way up. Versus way down. Huge difference. Pull it down a bit. Let's go on here and back to the tone section. Fly this out. Turn on our EQ. Have our bass control. Our body, which is basically the mid, and the air, which is the top end. Of course, you can always turn it off, just like that. Turn it off. Tonal depth, make it very natural or more resonant. You can hear it, that really opens up. Sort of just swirls around. Not very natural sounding, but very resonant sounding. Let's pull it down a bit. I'll leave it on because I kind of like that. Transients, let's see what this does. Attack, let's pull this here. So this is going to accentuate the attack, or we can lengthen the sustain. You hear the difference there? Of course, you can always use these in concert. Maybe you want it really sort of natural with more sustain. You can do that as well. Of course. Let's go and turn that off. And we'll go and turn off tonal depth. Again, low key is really cool here. Listen to those lower notes now. You hear that? Now, if that was on more, listen to the bass response. It's a bit louder versus the higher notes. And you use this control to basically balance out the level, below middle C there, on how loud those notes are. Of course, we have our compressor. Turn that on. Turn the amount way up. Huge difference there already. Of course, you can see the response of our compressor right here. And a bunch of different presets here. Go to light blue, and this is a tape you can see by the icon. Go to super slam. Really slams it. Turn it off. You can hear the difference on the dynamic range. Pull it back on. Go to pump it up. It's not too different. But yeah, you can definitely hear that on the top end there. Thick saturation. And you can see how that's affecting our tone. Now if I turn it off. Very cool. Fold it up. Go back down to anatomy here. Open this up. Turn on our overtones. Release samples are already on. You're not going to hear much of this, but it's supposed to be pretty subtle. Hear how it rings out. Of course, you can adjust the level of that. Here's our overtones. Again, this is not something you're really going to hear like you will, say, stereo image. I mean, you're going to hear it, but it's not going to be overwhelming. Pump it way up. It's a bit more lively. You can really kind of hear it there when it fades. Let's pull it way down. Turn it off. Good stereo image. Take it down to mono. Very great that they have this included. Sometimes you might have to go out and use a different plugin to sort of adjust the, stereo width there. Take it way up. You get really wide with this. It's a bit too wide for me. We've already seen the keys a little bit, but we'll go ahead and change it here. You'll hear the difference. You can see the difference between, say, 0 and 127. Right around the middle is going to be a lot different for what the velocity will be versus, say, something that's soft. Hear that? Nothing has changed. We're playing back a MIDI loop, so nothing has changed in how hard the keys are being hit. It's just the way they're responding. There we go. Of course, we have our silent key control. Go and turn on our pedal, our repedaling and half pedaling there. Already checked out release samples. Now we have noises. We'll just turn all of them on. The hammer, damper, pedal, and string noises. And of course, you can adjust the level. Not going to hear much of the hammer, but you'll definitely hear this pedal. You hear the pedal kicking in? You can hear that. It's like boom, boom. Very nice to have that included. Of course, it's way too loud now to be a really good piano track anyway, in my opinion. You don't want it to be distracting. We'll leave those on. We'll just pull them down. And of course, we have our tuning, which we don't really need to mess with here, but you can change it however you want. Pretty cool. On to the last parameters here, our space parameters or reverb parameters, however you want to look at it. Of course, we have a bunch of different impulse responses down here. So we have our amount, pull it way up. And our size, pull it way up. And our distance, this is kind of like a pre-delay, so you'll hear her. See how we get that initial attack? And then it kind of comes in there with it when it's really, really far away. If you're gonna have a distance way out, you probably wouldn't want the amount too heavy. If it is, it sounds like this. Which can work for sound design. Pull that down to something more reasonable. Let's go to Taj Mahal. Now, if you hear any clicks or pops, it's just these parameters sort of changing here. This is a great impulse response here. Listen to that. Not something you'd use that much of in terms of the amount, I mean. But I just want you to hear how well it sounds. Very nice. Going to do a couple more. Chapel, I really like the Chapel one. That's absolutely beautiful there. That's a great impulse response, a great space. Hear that resonance? You hear a few clicks and pops there just because it's changing. Hear that? Really cool. We can go to a stadium. Huge stadium. Very cool. Now to really hear that, you have to hear it kind of fade out. So we'll do that real quick here. Still fading out. Pretty cool. We'll do one more. Let's say something like our chamber medium Hall 1. Make sure I come back here. And we'll hear that. Pull the amount up a bit. Very, very cool. Very, very nice impulse response there. Still fading out. That tail is still going on. Still going on. I'm going to have to stop it. It's still going on. Wow. Jazz Club, which I think we've heard, maybe not. Okay, very cool. So that is our quick look, our overview there of the Gentleman. Again, that includes one NKI, but it also includes a bunch of different snapshots or presets, however you prefer to look at them. We've heard everything that happens whenever we change our parameters, looked at all of our parameters. Now we know what everything does, so you can really go out there and dial in that sound you want from your vintage upright piano. A very, 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 very well sampled piano library here, once again included in Complete 11 and Complete 11 Ultimate, or you can buy it on its own. Okay, so you can always go check that out at nativeinstruments.com, and in a later video we'll have a complete playthrough of some of these snapshots or presets here with no talking, so you can hear just how the piano sounds on its own. All right, go check it out, nativeinstruments.com.